Today we take a look at the AKM 61-piece Master Thread Restoring Kit. Okay, so we have our male and our female thread restorers. We've got a little guide, and we have our thread files. So if you've never seen one of these before, this is basically just like a regular file, except for it's got these little notches in there, so it will perfectly fit over the thread of a bolt. You can see on the bottom there, we have the pitch, so that is a 10, 32, 16, and a 27. On the back side, we got a 12, 29, and 28. So you can just take this little rubber handle, throw that on whichever side you're not going to be using. It does come with 3 of those thread files. All of our threads are color coded, so we have UNC, we have UNF, and we have our metric here on the bottom. So that way, even at a glance, you're going to know exactly which area you're going to need to look. It is also all labeled on the case, so we got everything from a 6 up to a 14 on metric, and we got a 1/4 up to 5/8 on our standard. For our female threads, it looks like we got the same thing, 6 up to a 14, as well as on our standard. We also have these thread checkers. They are labeled SAE and metric. Then they have these gauges on it that we can use to check for the thread type. So if I take one of these threads and I try to rake it across, so we can see the bolt will kind of slide across, so that means that that is not the correct thread. And there we go. So that means this is a metric 1.0 thread. So here I have a 3/8 nut, and I've got a 3/8 bolt, and I've got a 10mm bolt. Now you can see the 3/8 and the 10mm are pretty close. They are not the same. The 3/8 nut will spin onto the 3/8 bolt, no problem, and it will kind of spin onto the 10mm, but then it stops. So if somebody didn't know what they were doing, decided maybe the threads are just gummed up, I'll just give it a bunch of torque. All they'll end up doing is messing up those threads. All right. So now if I go back to my 3/8, yeah, now that one jams up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it around to the side where I know that we got good threads. Really the best thing to do at this point would just be to replace that nut, but if that's not an option, maybe this is welded to a frame or something like that, or we just got a piece of metal that's already tapped, and this could be a good solution. The best to start from the back if you can. If you can't, you can always try from the front, and worst case scenario, it doesn't work. But most of the time, if you start it from the back, it does work. To grab my 3/8 course, going to give that a little lubricant. You don't have to, but it is a good idea. We'll extend the service life of the tool, and then we're just going to run that in like we would with a tap. Go forward, back it out. Basically until you run almost the entire tool through. Back that guy back out, and now we can put our bolt back in using just our fingers. So yeah, very nice set. That is kind of a lifesaver when you need it. Tap can do a lot of the same work, but a tap is going to cut and remove material, so you're going to end up with less material in the long run. This is more like going to form it, so it's going to reset everything where it should be. Quite often, this simple tool can do the job.